This will be episode 162. Continuing our photo bash references. I really like the jacket on this one and the fact that he's like kind of dressed darkly with non-colors and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, this one I'll probably have a little bit of fun with. Photo bashing, that is. I got Tom Segura and Godfrey on the Two Bears One Cave podcast playing in the background. They've already been going at it for a while, and I love me some Godfrey. He's great. So, I had these two together. It is what it is. So I'm gonna let that rock in the background while I just do this stuff. Let's see what happens.
We take a lot. Thanks. Thanks, buddy. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I thoroughly enjoy what you're doing. I love like that. You have a very unique perspective. You're an original, and like I enjoy the conversations and dialogue about race. I think it's like it's an important.
It's a way to do. There's a way to do it.
Yeah.
We're not people walking, not being a white girl and walking out of a comedy show. Only white women walk out of comedy shows.
They're the worst.
Dude, J.O. Booker said white women fucking comedy.
They're the worst. The thing that I hate is like having a good time, doing the type of comedy that I like to do.
Yeah.
And like you're taking jabs at like everyone in comedy.
Yeah.
And then there's like some white lady who's like she'll speak up for you, and I'm like, do you think he's like incapable of speaking?
Right.
Like she'll be like, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And then the black guy's like, I'm having a great time.
I'm having a great time,
You're
man. You get on the elevator and she's holding her purse. Bitch.
Yeah,
Kick rocks.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And also like she's like, it doesn't matter that he's having like, oh, so you're speaking for this man? Like do you have insulting back?
That's why I tell dudes, black dudes, stop hating white women.
Yeah. Yeah, stop. We actually need.
I know what makes you so crazy.
We need more options.
Please leave them. That's why white dudes are going with other races. They're like, we are definitely.
I know what he's gonna just make. Dude, my second wife is gonna be fucking black or eight. Dude, I appreciate you coming today. Thank you for doing this. This was super fun.
I thought that you weren't gonna like give me a date.
Why? I don't know.
Cause I'm not like, and I came up with Craig Robinson.
We did it in like 2
I know. I came up with Craig Robinson.
I did not
He's
know
from
that.
Chicago.
Yeah, I know Craig.
We did like open mics.
Yeah.
And Craig is like the black dude that's here. But he never lost his integrity, which is fantastic. And certain people, Hannibal's in, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm in.
Really?
No, man.
I mean, I only. I think dude, I always feel like that, like, there's a lot of guys from New York that I never really got to know the way that you live in the same city.
Yeah.
But I mean, as soon as
I was like, I don't think I'm in. I don't think I'm in.
dude.
But I thought in my mind, spirituality.
Yeah.
I don't be on top.
I had the same. I was like, I'm gonna bring this back.
And that motherfucker came. You came. But I came like a motherfucker.
I did.
White motherfucker, black motherfucker. Yeah.
It's
We were
beautiful.
able to make.
We made music today, man.
Night didn't reply. Okay.
We got our eye patches back.
It was that Cosby Wonder.
It was Cosby Wonder, yeah.
Oh, like you
No, we have to do this again. We have
Fuck
to.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'd love to be.
I'm moving, so it'll be a shorter
Awesome.
flight. Yeah, so it'll be a shorter flight.
Dude, I don't give a. My nephew is at UT. He's in his top of his class, business school. Nigerians, go ahead. He's a Longhorn. My sister lives in Dallas, so I want to come again.
Let's do it.
I'm Team Segura. What is it? Is Segura mean like sure?
It does. Yes.
Segura. Yeah, I know it. I was like, yeah, that means like sure.
Your Spanish is in good shape, man.
Mi español es así, necesito practicar todavía, especialmente en Nueva York, que la gente hablando español muy rápido.
Sí, yo también. Me falta practicar. Si no practico.
Pero tú hablas español muy bien. Sí, comedia en español, pero muy difícil.
Es difícil, man.
Difícil.
Tengo mucho esfuerzo para hacerlo en español.
Sí, wow, increíble.
Más o menos.
Poder, baby. Boom, buddy.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening.
Do I
Thank
do
you
that?
guys for
Follow me on Instagram.
Do it.
Comedian God. Hey, guys, am I in the camera? I've never looked at the camera.
It's all right.
Hey, follow me on Instagram, guys. Comedian Godfrey, and My podcast is In Godfrey We Trust on the Gas. Luis J. Gomez.
Yeah.
On the Gas, another half Latino.
Yeah.
On the Gas Digital Network, Tuesdays and Fridays, 9:30. When is this showing?
This will come out in a couple of weeks on a Monday morning.
Okay, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, and Community Outreach Instagram.
There you have it.
Peace, guys.
Peace. See you later.
Paz.
Okay, we're gonna talk about some Demon Slayer, some art stuff, and then some video game stuff, and then some podcasts. Yeah. All right.
For the second season, which should drop sooner or later this year. I'm down to drop a bunch of Demon Slayer videos as long as you guys continue to watch them and continue to show your love by smashing that like button until it's blue. That's the best way to ensure consistent Demon Slayer content for you, as well as commenting below to help the YouTube algorithm know to share this video with other Demon Slayer fans. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos. And while you wait for your suggestion to be made, feel free to check out my growing Demon Slayer playlist, which includes videos on all the Hashira, all Demon Moons, and much more. Link to that is in the description. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it. Spoilers and all. So I've been meaning to make one of these videos for a while where I examine the relationship between two characters. It's been in the back of my mind for a while now, so I decided to finally give it a shot with one of my favorite couples in Demon Slayer. Another favorite couple is Zenitsu and Nezuko, so if you want to see that too, destroy that like button and let me know in the comments. Kana debuts as early as chapter 6, believe it or not, during the final selection exam. We just see her gentle smile and don't spend much time with her, but like Zenitsu and Genya, she was singled out, foreshadowing her future importance in the story. She was one of the almost 20 participants and one of the 5 to actually survive. So it wasn't really love at first sight here, since Kanao was just in the background as Tanjiro was carrying out his goal and trying to help his sister. Let's fast forward now to the Nakagumo Mountain arc. At this point, she came with Giyu and Shinobu as her Tsubuko, aka as her apprentice and eventual successor. Again, this was a very romantic meeting. Shinobu is trying to kill Nezuko because she's a demon, while Tanjiro and Giyu are trying to protect Nezuko from the insect killer. As Giyu is keeping Shinobu busy, her assistant Kanao attacks Tanjiro as he's running away with Nezuko. She almost kills Nezuko, Tanjiro's precious sister, but Tanjiro manages to stop her. Kano is a beast though, and then manages to knock Tanjiro out with a kick to the head. As she chases down Nezuko, a part of her thinks it's weird that Nezuko is just running and not attacking, but another part of her says, and I quote, "Just kill demons like I was taught," end quote. At this point, she is clearly not allowing herself to think for herself, rather just following orders. Luckily, the crows let Kanao know that Nezuko is to be captured rather than killed, and then she can proceed with those new instructions. So yeah, not a conventional start to a romance. Imagine a girl knock you out with a kick and try to kill your sister. Still, arguably, Kanao was just doing what the majority of Demon Slayers would do, following orders and trying to eliminate demons. At the Butterfly Mansion, things really begin to change. While the Kakushi are carrying Tanjiro there, they see Kanao, and Tanjiro stares at her as if it's the first time he truly saw her, as she smiles surrounded by butterflies. It's explained to Tanjiro that she's a Tsubuko, a demon slayer who's being trained by a Hashira. Only the most talented and highly skilled fighters get selected, so she's very impressive. Tanjiro thinks that he saw her at final selection, but he didn't notice that she stepped on him last night. Hilarious.
Yes, I wasn't so lucky. Invisalign.
Kushi asks if they can enter. Kano just smiles vacantly, not saying anything. Aoi then intercepts them and leads them away, but interestingly enough, Tanjiro stares back, looking at Kano, clearly showing his interest in this weird, quiet girl who could kick his butt. The butterfly girls, including Kano and Aoi, help with the training of our three amigos, namely Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. Tanjiro, being more straight-laced, doesn't make a big deal of this fact, while Zenitsu freaks out when he finds out, saying that girls have nice chests, great butts, and strong thighs. Tanjiro does his best not to give in to such thoughts, since, as he says, he thinks it's bad to train with such impure motivations. Kano was on another level and continually beat the three Demon Slaying amigos in the game of tag and in the cup throwing game. They marveled at her abilities and how even though she joined at the same time as them, she was so much ahead of them. Tanjiro was the opposite and actually lagged behind Zenitsu and Inosuke to the point where he felt embarrassed. Still, after losing to Kanao the unbeatable for 5 days straight, Zenitsu and Inosuke stopped showing up, but Tanjiro kept coming and working hard and lost for another 10 days straight. Tanjiro wondered why he couldn't beat her and pointed out that she smelled closer to a Hashira and that her eyes were different. Finally, Tanjiro realizes that the big difference is that he doesn't use total concentration breathing 24 hours a day, while the Hashira and Kanao do. We find out that Kanao can use breathing to burst huge hard gourds, and Tanjiro's absolutely shocked that a skinny girl like her can do it. Through hard work and total concentration breathing, Tanjiro manages to eventually catch Kanao in tag and beat her in the cup game. Except he doesn't want to throw the smelly medical tea in her face, so he puts the cup on her head, which still counts as a win. You gotta love these moments they have, and even though Tanjiro did beat her here, Kanao actually had more up her sleeve, as we'll find out later. It has something to do with the fact that Tanjiro said her eyes are different than most people's, but the fact that these two are both such strong fighters also makes them a nice match in my books. Now let's fast forward to when Tanjiro thanks Kanao for everything and is heading out again. Again, Kanao smiles and remains quiet. There's an extended moment of silence before Kanao finally takes out a coin and flips it. After seeing the result, it's hilarious how unintentionally cold and formal Kanao's response is. She states that I quote, "I merely followed my teacher's instructions, so you don't need to thank me. Goodbye." End quote. No nice to spend time with you, no I like you, not even a you're welcome. Nevertheless, Tanjiro is just shocked she spoke. Clearly, Tanjiro is drawn to Kanao even in these earlier parts in the story, since not a lot of people would stay so long considering Kanao's behavior. Kanao keeps repeating goodbye while Tanjiro keeps talking, asking her about what she threw and why she threw it. Then Kanao opens up and says, and I quote, "I tossed this to the side things for which I haven't been told what to do. Just now, I decided whether I would speak to you or not. Heads meant I wouldn't, and tails meant I would. It came up tails, so I spoke." End quote. Crazy to think if the end result would have changed if she got heads and didn't speak to Tanjiro. But with how persistent Tanjiro is, it may not have even mattered. As Kanao says goodbye again for the 1000th time, Tanjiro keeps the conversation going, asking Kanao why she can't decide for herself what to do. No response. He continues, and I quote, "What did you want to do for yourself?" End quote. Kanao, not saying goodbye this time, which is progress in and of itself, says, "It doesn't matter. Nothing matters at all, so I can't decide by myself." Tanjiro blows her mind and heart wide open when he says, "I think everything in this world matters." He goes on to tell her that he bets the voice in her heart is soft, but it's also important to follow instructions. He asks to borrow her coin, and surprise, surprise, she says yes without flipping the coin, so Tanjiro has already started to get Kanao out of her robotic-like existence. He then throws the coin and says that this will decide if she listens closely to the voice in her heart from now on. If it's heads, she'll have to live by her heart. The usually calm and vacant Kanao is now wide awake and even sweating as she awaits the result. They both see it's heads, and Tanjiro is overjoyed and tells Kanao that she can do it. The heart is what drives us. Her heart can get infinitely strong. It's like Kanao had been frozen in time in a sense, and she just melted during this exchange and started to really live again. By the way, Tanjiro grabs the hands of the now nervous Kanao, another clue that they'd end up together. As Tanjiro rushes off, saying goodbye, Kanao is now full of energy and screaming after him. How did he know it would come up heads? Was Tanjiro really leaving this all to fate or chance? Kanao wants to know if it was a valid throw. She thinks to herself that she was watching his hand and she doesn't think that he cheated. And this is one of my favorite parts in Demon Slayer right here. Tanjiro smiles and says, "It was just chance." But here's the kicker. He adds, Besides, if it was tails, I was going to flip it over and over until I got heads. Tanjiro was not going to leave this to chance. He was going to keep going until he made sure that Kanao started listening to her heart. He tells her to take care as she remains there, holding the coin that Tanjiro had just held to her heart. When another girl catches her off guard, Kanao straight up falls over, clearly flustered about her reawakened feelings, and more specifically, probably about her feelings for Tanjiro. And after this scene between Tanjiro and Kanao, no one should be surprised that they end up together. Tanjiro's consistent effort and interest in Kanao, and the fact that Kanao's heart was pretty much reawakened by him, is heavy foreshadowing for what's to come. So I don't want anyone saying that this matchup came from left field, since this significant and life-changing scene was in the very first season. By the way, because of the nature of this video, I won't be focusing too much on Kanao's backstory, although I do go into it more in my How Strong is Kanao video, link in the description. Long story short though, she had a very difficult upbringing. She grew up in poverty and in an abusive home. She witnessed siblings pass away, and if she cried, she would get punished. Not surprisingly, she eventually broke psychologically and was sold into slavery before Kanae and Shinobu saved her. Although they physically rescued her, she was like an empty shell, and Kanae had to give her a coin to flip before she could even make any decision. Thus, Tanjiro straight up mends her broken psyche here, and although she will still grow as a character from here, the wheels are clearly turning again, making Tanjiro already one of the most important figures in her life up to this point. Now we fast forward to Tanjiro waking up from his coma after the fight against Upper Moon's Yutaro and Daki. Who's the first person he sees? None other than a concerned Kanao, who straight up drops and breaks a vase when she sees he's up. She's no longer the empty shell she once was. She reveals that he's been unconscious for 2 months. Clearly, she's been looking after him, and then she gives us one of the most heartwarming smiles with what appear to be tears coming from her eyes. And she tells Tanjiro that she's glad he's awake. Full ship ahead. It's a moment that's easy to gloss over if you're waiting to get to the fights, but it shows just how much Kanao has come to care about Tanjiro. The fact that she's the first to see him suggests that she, in all likelihood, spent the most time by his bed. Now let's skip over to Kanao's fight against Upper Moon to Doma. The whole fight is amazing, but I'll try to focus on the details that stand out from a Tanjiro and Kanao perspective. The first thing I'll mention and go back to is how Kanao, like Tanjiro the Chosen One, is an amazing fighter in her own right, making them quite the power couple. Doma says that Kanao might just be a little more skillful than Shinobu, who he's just eaten, and that's before Kanao even shows him her full power. This is an important fight for Kanao because she is avenging both Kanae and Shinobu, both of who rescued her from slavery and died at the hands of Doma. By this point, Kanao is definitely not a vacant shell. She is burning with passion and specifically with hatred for Doma. Inosuke helps Kanao in this fight, as does Shinobu, who poisoned Doma when he ate her, but Kanao is still amazing in it. She uses one of my favorite breath style techniques ever called Flower Breathing Final Form Vermilion Eye, which is pretty much like a shotgun gun with its own unique spin. It makes surrounding movements look dull and slow, and it causes pressure on the eyes, and that pressure stains them red. Kanao uses this ability, and with the help of Inosuke and Shinobu's poison, succeeds in defeating Doma, finally carrying out her revenge. As a result of using this OP technique though, she loses vision in her right eye. After the battle, we find out that Kanao couldn't cry for Kanae after she died, but everyone was kind and didn't think less of her because she couldn't show emotion. And finally, she cries harder than ever. The floodgates open, symbolizing that with her defeat of Doma, she's fully regained her ability to show her emotions. Similarly, Tanjiro completes his revenge arc by finally beating Muzan with the help of everyone else, and like Kanao, he loses vision in his right eye in the process. And although it's sad that they both lose vision in one eye, it's yet another thing that for us hardcore romantics makes them perfect for each other and makes it seem like they're fated to be together. But let's not gloss over this final battle because there are quite a few important moments concerning Kanao and Tanjiro. There is a point where Muzan has taken out almost everyone, including the strongest pillar, and Kanao looks like the only fighter left. He approaches her and is about to finish her off, and Tanjiro swoops in with the save using the legendary Dance of the Fire God style and takes Kanao away to safety. At this point, half of Tanjiro's face is mutated, but he doesn't seem to care. He just apologizes to Kanao for being late and tells the Kakushi to take care of her. It's a complete 180 from the time Kanao easily knocked him out with a kick, and you'd love to see. However, it's not just Tanjiro doing the saving. Kanao's turn comes up when Tanjiro becomes an overpowered demon. Kanao still had some anti-demon medicine, and when she sees the state Tanjiro is in, she realizes that this is the reason she still has one eye left. Kanao, bless her heart, uses Vermilion Eye with her one remaining eye in order to save Tanjiro. She gets hurt in addition to hurting her last remaining eye with her special technique, but it doesn't bother her. As she says, all she wishes for is for Tanjiro to come back to them, and you can noticeably see that her words reach him. Just as Tanjiro saved Kanao, Kanao was willing to risk not just her vision but her entire life to save Tanjiro as well. And this effort of Kanao, along with the words she speaks as well as the medicine she gives Tanjiro, is the big push which helps him return to the world of humans. As Tanjiro recovers, Kanao is laying there in the distance as well, being treated for her injuries. They're both immobile, laying on the ground, and they make eye contact and both smile and cry, having just saved each other. It is such a beautiful moment. Then, during chapter 204, the second last chapter, Tanjiro and Kanao share a great moment after they recover to an extent from their injuries. They talk about how the first user of flower breathing planted the sakura tree in front of them and named it Victory. Kanao wanted to tell the tree that they succeeded, and Tanjiro can't help but think how kind this was of her. They continue to talk about how they're doing, and both delight in Kaburamaru, the snake that Kanao inherited from Iguro the snake pillar. Although Kanao definitely lost some vision in her remaining eye by using Vermilion Eye to save Tanjiro, she does explain that she still has some vision left. Although they part ways and Tanjiro is having dinner with Zenitsu, Nezuko, and Inosuke at the end of this chapter, the next chapter pretty much reveals who got together with whom. Chapter 205 is a huge time skip where we first meet the descendants of Kanao and Tanjiro, namely Kanata Kamado, who looks very similar to Kanao, and Sumihiko Kamado, who looks very similar to Tanjiro. I have no doubt the name Kanata itself is a reference to Kanao's name, just as Aoba is a reference to Aoi, suggesting that Aoi got together with Inosuke. And at this point, some fans suggested that the ships still weren't official because descendants of these characters might have got together rather than the main characters themselves. Immediately, I was like, no way to this possibility, and the mangaka clearly had my back and was kind enough to create an extended ending where it was confirmed that Tanjiro and Kanao did get together and were Kanata and Sumihiko's great-great-grandparents. In this extended ending, we also saw flashbacks of Tanjiro and Kanao getting closer, being nice to some crows together, and being wrapped around together by their pet snake Kaburamaru, who was probably a good wingman for Tanjiro. And in the final panel, Tanjiro is holding Nezuko's hand with his left hand and Kanao's hand with his right, which is perfect. I love to see them together in the final panel of the series. By the way, if you are confused and haven't seen this extended new ending, I will leave a link to the video I made about it in the description of this video. So there we have it, the relationship between Tanjiro and Kanao fully explained, although it didn't seem super promising at the start when Kanao knocked him out and tried to kill his sister. They got over that hurdle with a little help from Tanjiro's amnesia, since he hilariously enough didn't even remember she did that. After Tanjiro flipped that coin at the butterfly estate, there was arguably no going back, and their ship kept getting more and more perfect from there. They were both willing to risk their lives for one another, and were both saved by one another on multiple occasions and in multiple ways. I truly love this couple, and after her terrible upbringing, I'm so glad Kanao got with someone she deserves, someone as kind as Tanjiro. It truly warms my heart every time I think of this perfect ship. But let me know your thoughts on this couple, and if it's your favorite in Demon Slayer or if you prefer another one in the series. If you did enjoy this video, show Demon Slayer some love by smashing that like button until it's blue, especially if you want to see similar videos for Zenitsu and Nezuko, Inosuke and Aoi, and so on. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications notifications or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos. And while you wait for your suggestion to be made, feel free to check out my growing Demon Slayer playlist, which includes videos on all the Hashira, all Demon Moons, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And I especially want to thank the Patron Squad over on Patreon and here on YouTube who help make videos like this one possible. First and foremost, I want to thank the Patron of Legend, the one acknowledged by Lord Vigo himself, Alpha Sigma, and are the one tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans, Ingrata, Pate Hefa, Aljatal, Dr. Corbin, the Toasted Chi, Emperor Taku, Spylight Canal, Tungsten Tarkus, Fake Buddhist, Cody Hebert, and Monkey D. Quilly. And our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, the Red-Haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazatsky, Barry Gucci, Alicia Actor, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, Joanne Garcia, Ted No Tech, Fat Boy Games, Corey McGowan, Metal Mama, Deadly Saint, and Soul Rise Slice and Dice. Thank you all so much. If you do enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/animeoutdoor and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these amazing people right here, and you'll even get access to a private patron-only Discord where we talk about anime life and, of course, fake memes. So check out patreon.com/animeoutdoor, link in the description if you're interested.
Favorite dinosaur t-shirt made of cotton. Now it's buy a clear t-shirt.
Vintage. It's just another word for fossil. Cotton. Back to dead by the Jurassic Play.
Hey guys, it's Evan from Pizza, and I want to start today with a bit of a funny story. Well, a bit of a funny event that could only really be driven home in light of what we've had to live through over the last few years with COVID, with being locked up, with being in this great hibernation, quote unquote, as Russell Brand put it. And it's a perfect segue into exactly what I want to talk about today. Finding direction, finding focus as an artist, and knowing what the hell to do with yourself. With these endless options you have ahead of you, you have right in front of you. How do you buckle down and say, this is what I'm going to dedicate myself to for an undetermined amount of time? This is very often one of the most difficult decisions. And I've seen artists, and I've taught and worked with artists that were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that were still trying to, quote, figure themselves out. So you can see that this isn't a struggle that's exclusive to 18 to 25-year-olds. You can continue to have this struggle throughout a very long career. Still finding somewhat quite a bit of success, that said, but it can still be a struggle. So to start us off, since COVID is starting to lift, since we're starting to slowly, gently reintegrate into this sense of familiarity and normalcy, since a lot of us are getting our vaccines, I've had my first so far, and a lot of my neighbors are fully vaccinated and all that kind of stuff. We're slowly starting to socialize. People are starting to be closer to others. People are starting to enter other people's homes, so to speak. And when we first moved, my family first moved, right before COVID hit. So we were only lived here for a couple of months before all of a sudden COVID hit, and we had to stay locked up. So it prevented us from being able to get out and socialize and meet people around the neighborhood. Just a little bit, but not a lot. We have to be very careful about that kind of stuff. It's definitely affected different people in different ways. But I would say for me, where it really affected me the most, where I've been the most sensitive, is how it affected my kids. Because I'm an adult, I've been on the planet for a really long time. I already kind of have a point of reference on what normalcy is. But when you look at 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds and 5-year-olds, even 18 or 19-year-olds, my kids range all over the ages from 8 to 20. It's a lot harder to watch them those things because children are naturally far more inclined to be unapologetically social. They'll just walk up to anybody they want. They'll walk up to a group of strangers and say, hey, let's do stuff together. And seeing your kids not be able to just walk up to
play with them is fun. And that's something that I really had a hard time with until now. We started to get vaccinated. And like clockwork, they just started to, they lifted the curfew about a week ago. Not that that was anything too detrimental to our social lives, it was 9 p.m. onwards. So for people with young kids, it's not a big deal. But they're starting to lift these restrictions. So my son, Lucas, started wandering down the street, as kids would do, playing outside. He would see some kid ride by on his bicycle a couple of times and go, oh, this kid must live on our street. And he would inevitably go and say hi and introduce himself to them. And in classic 8-year-old fashion, or any kid around that age, he just walked up to them and started to hang out with them. He met one kid, and he was out playing, and before you knew it, there was a whole group of kids around him. They were all outside playing frisbee or ball or riding their bikes, whatever kids do. It's fun to watch. It's fun to finally be able to watch your kids get out and make some friends on the street. It's amazingly really fun. And it's also funny because yesterday I was cooking dinner and the door opens. Lucas walks in the front door and says, Dad, can my friends come in? And I thought he was talking about friends that I already met. I was like, yeah, sure. You can come in. It's no problem. And these 3 kids have come walking in. I've never seen them before, but I'm like, these 2 little cute, really, really sweet, adorable girls and their really cute older brother just come walking in the door. It's like, oh, okay. We've got a house full of people now. And they just walked in, and one of these little kids, this cute little girl walks up to me and looks up at me because I'm 6'3", right? So she's looking up at me like I'm a giant. She goes, I'm thirsty. And I went, okay, well, what do you want? I love that. I love because give me something to drink. I'm thirsty. What kind of a host are you? I love it. And I went, well, what do you want? I said, I have milk, I have juice, and I have water. I want milk. Sit down, I'll give you some milk. So I put a glass of milk. I said, say thanks. Thank you. She drank the milk. And then they started to draw together and have fun together. And you gotta put things into perspective. She's only well, number one, I'm strangers. I started to get along so that she's not walking into strangers' homes. Right? So that's one thing. But the other thing is the fact that she, for starters, never questioned her decisions. She never questioned her motives. Now, that said, she was a 6-year-old, a really cute little 6-year-old, right? So if she was a full-grown adult, I would have a very different reaction to some big guy with a beard and tattoos walking in going, I'm thirsty, right? That probably would have to be instead. But she didn't question herself. Furthermore, Lucas didn't question whether or not it was a good or bad idea to approach them. But in their bravery and their lack of being themselves and doing what felt right for them, they were also incredibly adaptable. Like she walked into the house and she did bark orders at me and tell me to feed her. Now, chip chop chip. But she also adapted herself to the rules of the home. Be polite, sit down, I like to drink in the kitchen, and later you have to drink in the kitchen, right? We don't want her spilling milk on the couch or the carpets. And she adapted herself to this reality. And it's Lucas's adaptability and his friends' adaptability that allowed them to integrate very quickly into this new reality, adapt to it, and make it a part of their lives. And now, and henceforth, they will be our little friends that live down the street that will most likely be walking in and out of my house whenever they feel it. And I know that from this point forward, us as adults, myself as the father and their mom and dad, will inevitably come knocking on our door if they can't find their kids. Right? We're now acquaintances with friends, and they have the courage to create friendships not only between themselves, but between the adults, the parents. And it's kind of neat, isn't it? How they've unlocked this new experience for me as an adult. As much as they adapted to me, you'll see that they forced me to adapt to them too. And I have absolutely no hesitations about it. I'm not upset about this new reality. I'm not upset about the fact that, oh crap, now I've got to do this from now on. No. I'm happy it happened. And I'm grateful to Lucas that he did that. Sadly, as he gets older and develops a growing sense of social insecurity, most likely that fearlessness will slowly fade away, and he'll become a little bit more choosy about the friends he picks. He'll be a little bit more hesitant about which groups he can and cannot be a part of. This usually starts to kick in around high school, right? You find your clique. Now, why is that important for what we're talking about today? Well, I honestly feel that this is, when I speak to students, I just spoke to a student of mine this morning about this, we can spend our entire lives waiting for the perfect opportunity. We can spend our entire lives in a state of suspension, not just picking a direction. And that not picking a direction, that being in this state of constantly questioning whether or not the next step we're going to take is the perfect step, and whether or not we're making the right decision, and whether or not we're committing ourselves to the right thing, can be completely debilitating to an artistic career for however long it lasts. And as soon as you learn to let go of that element, that facet of yourselves, all of a sudden opportunities start to unlock right in front of you. Potential starts to unlock. Careers start to flourish. And I think this is such a crucially important piece of information that every artist should be aware of it. In a sense, I've mentioned this in early talks. I had a talk, I can't remember what the title is, unfortunately, but in the talk I talk about committing to something. The whole word commitment, committing to something, and the fear of long-term commitment versus short-term commitment. The importance of committing, but the importance of removing the permanence associated with commitment. Forever and ever, destiny. I'll let you hunt that one down. If you remember which video that is, please link it below in the description. But it's called Pinnacle. So that already kind of talks about that topic, but I want to get more into the psychology of what makes us indecisive with our artistic choices, with our artistic styles, and our artistic talents. And that has everything to do with control. Everything to do with control. I find that very often the people who are the most capable and the times in my life where I've done the most, the greatest, I've achieved the most, I've made the quickest and most substantial advances, I've had the greatest realizations about myself and about my potential, have always been in periods of my life where that control was taken away from me. Where I felt like my ideals, my beliefs, my structure, my technique, my practice, my education, and everything around that was pretty much obsolete. That some element in my life made all of those things completely pointless. Kind of the equivalent of when the big ice storm hit around 1999 in eastern Canada and knocked out the electricity for a couple of months. And we were thrown back into the stone age. All of these amenities, all of our chargeable items, all of our electrically powered things like stoves and fridges and hot water and lights and music were shut off. They were gone. They ceased to exist. And you lost that sense of control. And through that loss of control, we learned a sense of community. We learned a sense of innovation. We learned a sense of thriftiness. We learned how to be clever with what we had. Learned a lot. We learned a lot in this period of survival. It was a very important moment. And psychologically, when I was in moments of my life where I felt terrible things had happened to me, which you could say arguably were terrible things, but that was amplified by how it challenged my ego and my sense of self. When I felt like everything I had was taken away from me, I was forced to give up control. I was forced to concede to life and say, whatever I believed, whatever I thought, whatever ideals, whatever things I depended on, are no longer there. It's just me and Mother Earth. Figure it out. As soon as I lost control, as soon as the choice was taken away from me, or at least my control over which choice was taken away from me, it's interesting how every option opened up. All of a sudden, I made myself available to everything else. By losing control, I gained direction. And that is such a perfect analogy for your when the Cheshire Cat asks Alice in Wonderland where she's going, and she says, it doesn't really matter. So he says, well, then it doesn't matter which way you go. You can go left or right. It doesn't matter. And the irony, the real life lesson in that is, both of those paths led to the same inevitable location. It led to the same place. So the March Hare Monument. Her direction, where she ends up, is of her choosing to a certain degree. But how she gets there doesn't really matter. And that is a perfect analogy for choosing an artistic path. It doesn't matter if you choose the perfect choice. It doesn't matter if you go in the right, if you choose this path or that path, if you choose this art style or that art style. It just matters that you go somewhere. Just like with Lucas, it doesn't matter if that little girl and that little girl and that little boy are the perfect friends, if they have the perfect personality and chemistry with him to become best buddies for the rest of their life. It didn't matter. He just walked up to them because they were kids. He said, want to play? They said, yes. They walked into my house and demanded all of my food. And that's what led to this life change that led to birth, that led to new friendships, that led to new experiences. He just picked a friend and went with it. He didn't sit back and scrutinize it. And as such, he's got friends all up and down that street. And thanks to him, I also have friends too. So thank you, Lucas. Now, how is this related to your artistic career? Well, this is the number one thing that I take from students, and people are stubborn when it comes to this kind of stuff. Particularly for those who have spent longer periods of time struggling with which way to go with art. Should I get into comic book art? Should I get into fantasy art? Should I get into cartooning? Should I be a little bit more realistic? Should I do Game of Thronesy type of stuff? Should I do more sci-fi Tron type of stuff? Oh my god, well I love doing this, and I love doing that, and I love doing this, and I love doing that. And you can keep your life caught in this loop and never pick a damn direction. Never. And I'll say, so what you're saying is you need a sense of direction. You want to pick a path to go with. And you say, yeah, that's what I need, that's what I want. I say, okay, then pick this path, go that way. And 9 times out of 10, the response I'm going to get from that is, yeah, but I really like doing that too. So I put my foot down and I say, no, you're going to pick that path and stop following me with this path. That's the path you got to take. And you go, yeah, no, it's, yeah, but no, shit. No, I know. You're going that way. What you realize, what becomes very clearly evident is they're looking for the perfect direction. They believe that the choice they make now is what's going to determine where they end up. And the bottom line is, you're going to end up exactly where you intend on ending up. That's something that you don't have any control over. That's something that's going to happen whether you like it or not. If you want to be a professional artist, if you want to get great at art, it doesn't matter whether you go left or right. It just matters that you pick a path that allows you to grow. You pick a path that allows you to dedicate yourself to, that gives you a reason to create, that leads to growth. Where you end up is a path that's going to forge itself inevitably. If you're trying to get to the ocean, you will find the ocean. It doesn't matter whether you cut through the woods or whether you cut through the desert. Both paths lead to the ocean. Just pick a damn direction. And trust me, you can sit at this crossroads for decades and decades and decades. I'm not speaking figuratively, I'm speaking literally. I have seen this, I've witnessed this, I've spoken to artists who have been standing at this crossroads for decades and never picked a damn path. Why is it important to just pick something and not scrutinize too much with it? Well, for starters, just a little disclaimer here. Don't just go anywhere. Listen, I've never done comic book art. I don't really care about comic book art, but whatever, let's give it a shot. Adam said pick it, so let's go. You can still make that work if you really dedicate yourself to it. But, of course, ideally speaking, realistically speaking, right? There's a reason why I picked
fantasy, folklore-inspired art. And I like it. It speaks to me on an artistic level. It inspires me. It's the kind of stuff that I can create on a regular basis. But I didn't go taking a path that completely didn't relate to what I did. I'm not doing comic book sci-fi. If you did, you'd see it in my portfolio. That's not my main area of focus. It's dark fantasy illustration type of stuff. You know it. You're watching me do it right now. You pick a path that suits you, and you go with it. I'd like to get an image in your head of what I'm trying to talk about. Very often what we do artistically, where we get lost in this endless sea of possibilities, is we take a handful of many different types of seeds. All of those seeds, of different colors and sizes and shapes, all represent different possibilities. And you look at your hand and somebody asks you the question, which one is your favorite? And you look at your hand and you look at all these different color seeds and say, well, they're all pretty in their own way. I like them all. And no, pick your favorite. I can't really pick my favorite. They're all gorgeous. They're all really like this one. I like the colors on this one, the shape on this one is really beautiful. I like the shiny surface of that one. The texture is really nice here. I like them all. So what you do is you hold on to those seeds. And when it comes time to choosing, if you do anything, what you usually do, what I did for many years of my life, and I'm sure you're probably doing this yourself right now, unless you're working as a professional, you've already figured this out for yourself. You close your head, you take all of the seeds and you throw them into the water all at the same time. You don't plant them, you throw them in the water. And then you sit there and you wait for something to happen. And they all sink to the ground. None of them grew anything. You didn't nurture them the right way. You didn't give them the time. You didn't give them the climate they needed to grow. And on top of it, you threw too many in. Remember something. You're one human being. You're not 1,000 people. You're one. So throwing 1,000 possibilities in the water is going to amount to absolutely nothing. And even if it did, you won't live long enough to see them all come to fruition. You're not going to be able to be 25 different types of professionals. At most, maybe one, maybe two, for very few of us, if you're into that kind of thing, maybe three. But usually it's one. So what you do by taking all of these possibilities because you're afraid to prioritize any one over the other, you take them all and you throw them in the water. And none of them grow to anything. You just dabble and get a little taste of each one of them and then every one of them is dead. Instead, you just pick one goddamn seed. It doesn't need to be pretty. Just pick one you think is pretty and for today, for now, get rid of the other ones. Forget about it. They're not important. You can always come back and grab them. You grab that one seed, you don't think about it. You just walk up to that seed and say, wanna play? And the seed says, sure, why not? And you take that seed and you stick it into the ground and you cover it up with some dirt and you put a little water on it, you make sure it gets sun, and you wait. And you wait. And you, by waiting, I mean you just practice that one thing. You keep feeding it. You're feeding it. The analogy for feeding it is practice. Practice that style. Practice that skill. Practice comic book art. Practice fantasy art. Practice whichever thing you've decided. But be very specific about it. I'm not talking about fantasy art in general. I'm talking about this specific facet of fantasy. Maybe it's medieval Game of Thrones type stuff. Maybe it's more traditional fantasy art, maybe Tolkien art. Maybe it's dark fantasy, Dark Souls art. Pick a specific seed, plant it in the ground, get to know it, identify with that seed, nurture it, practice it, and one day, a little leaf will pop out of the ground. You go, look what I just made. And I guarantee you, even if you've been at this for the last 30, 40 years, that's the first time you ever saw something come from what you planned. Isn't it? It's the first time you've ever looked and said, holy shit, look, I just created life. And that in and of itself is going to be all the validation you need to realize you made the right decision. And here's the cool thing. You realize at that point as well, as you continue to nurture, as it continues to grow, you continue to feel more and more enthusiastic, inspired, motivated. You start to put more of, quote, yourself into what you do. And as you put more and more of you into your artwork becomes more of you. And you realize And it didn't matter if you chose dark fantasies. It didn't matter if you chose cartooning or comic book art. It didn't matter if what you painted was macabre or funny or cute or sad. Because every single path led to the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. Both paths converged to the same thing. And that same thing is you. You will turn anything you do into you eventually. All you need is a conduit. All you need is a catalyst. Something you can adhere to, and you need to give it time to grow and become something of value. I guarantee you, if you ask any artist out there, ask Bobby Chiu, ask Ahmed Abdul, ask Tyler Edwin, ask me, I am advocating for it, so obviously I'm going to validate my own point, right? But ask any of these artists, and guarantee they didn't necessarily choose to paint exactly that which they paint now at the beginning. If you look at Anthony Jones, if you see Anthony Jones do right now, it's very, very specific. But guaranteed, if you look at the path, the artistic growth path that took him to where he is, he didn't paint that every single day. He probably started off doing very different stuff. You wouldn't even recognize him 20 years ago. You wouldn't even recognize Anthony Jones 20 years ago. You wouldn't recognize me 20 years ago. But looking back at my animation background, looking back at the cartoons, the quirky stuff that I did, the light-hearted fantasy stuff, the dark-hearted fantasy stuff, the more comic humor narrative type of stuff that I did, looking at what I'm painting right now, I can see how what I'm painting right in front of me right now is a manifestation of every other little thing that I learned along the path of growth. And it led me to who I am today, to the artist I am today. And I can honestly look at what I paint today and feel me. And it feels like me today. But for so many years of my life, I kept trying to become, I kept trying to control and say, this is my identity. This is where I belong. This is how I identify myself. This is the name I give myself as an artist. This is me. And I held on to that until one day, somebody pulled the rug out from me. I lost everything. I ended up with nothing. I was broke, I was unemployed, I was a bum, and I had zero self-esteem. I felt like a complete washout. I felt like I had wasted my life on the wrong dream. And I did the best thing at that very point that defined the rest of my life. Like Jim Carrey said, you can spend your entire life failing at what you don't like, so you might as well give a shot at what you do. So my advice to you today is this. If you've been standing at a crossroads for the last year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or maybe 30 or 40 years, and you still can't find yourself capable of picking the right path, of choosing the rest of your life, realize, number one, it doesn't matter when you start. Growth is as enjoyable in your 60s as it is when you're in your 20s. Okay? So I want you to ignore the clock. I want you to ignore that number that you associate with your identity. It doesn't matter. You can find great success in your 70s and 80s. That doesn't matter. And the second thing is, let go of the possibilities. Give up control over finding that perfect seed. Just grab one, plant it, nurture it, and you'll see that no matter which seed you planted, it's always going to blossom into the most beautiful plant. It will blossom into you, inevitably. All right? That's it. Thank you for joining me once again. I love you all. Oh my God. Happy painting. Take care.
Whew. Damn. Just listening. I don't know if you guys can hear that stuff that I listen to in the background or not, but that was Adam Duff. He has a channel on YouTube called Lucid Pixel, and it's shit like that that I love to listen to. It's why I tuned into his channel. I mean, he talked about his kids and that stuff, and it's an interesting outscope. Me, I don't have any kids, so it's like I can't really speak on that. But what it led to ultimately was something that I actually can identify with and understand completely what he's saying. And it's something that I talk about in the past, on past streams, uh, as far as Um, where am I? Oh, no wonder I'm hearing an echo. So yeah, he was saying like, from more or less, like, if you're an artist and you're trying to figure out what to do, just do something. If you have 10 things that you're juggling, just do something. You know what I mean? Just do something. Don't do nothing, because while you're sitting there thinking, then you're not really doing. You know what I mean? You're just sitting there thinking. You could sit there and think and ponder for the rest of your life, or you could just start doing things. And that's kind of been the story that I've always toted, at least my own personal journey. I mean, I got a degree in animation, didn't get a job in animation, so I got into graphic design. Um, I'm a self-taught, self-learned graphic designer. Um, any and all digital art that I do, I learned as a oh, come on. Is my Photoshop slowing down again? Um, and yeah, you know, so I got into graphic design, self-taught, self-learned, did it for 10 years, became a senior designer. I trained people, like I did all that. And then I got into, and in the middle of all that happening, not even in the middle, but fairly early on, my computer at home crashed 3 times, mind you. And after the third crash, I lost everything. Like, you know, and I had a decision to make. I could sit there and ponder because I was broke and couldn't do it. I could have just gave up, but I decided to go back to traditional art. And after doing, traditional art and getting back into it again, and rediscovering it and learning, like I like doing traditional a lot more than I like doing digital. Um, I I wanted to get better at traditional because all I could do was pencil drawings, and while pencil drawing's cool and everything, um, there we go. All right, cool. And after my computer crash, got getting into traditional art. Shit, come on, move forward. There we go. There we go. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to get better at inking, painting. Like I wanted to do everything, and instead of just doing it all, like he was saying about like throwing all the seeds into the water, what I did was I took a year off to focus on a single thing. I focused only on inking, and I sucked. And even by the end of the year, I still sucked, but at least it got familiar to me. Um, when I got into when I got into watercolors, I everything just became familiar to me, and that's really, uh, all I really wanted from it was to get familiar enough to be able to do something with it and learn and get better with it. But you can't learn and get better if you're not doing it at all. So, I started doing things not expecting, the best of results, and I was going to conventions and selling the works that I was using as practice at conventions. So I was even able to turn a profit off of my studies, and it's like a two for one for me. But yeah, man, that's exactly what you want to do. You know, there's people that talk that I talk to here on Twitch, and they say, I want to do this, I want to do that. I just don't know how to get started. And they're not necessarily asking me for guidance or anything like that. We're all just talking. Ah, shit. There we go. Let me erase this. I was on the wrong layer. Oh, it's still on overlay. So I took a year off and I started, you know, I just familiarized myself with everything, and I knew I was doing a good enough job to be able to sell these things. So as long as I kept at it, I would get better, and as I get better, you know what I mean? That's all there was to it. Mission accomplished at the end of the day. Um, and yeah, I'd say that my skills today kind of speak for themselves, and that's after, we're talking about over a decade ago, or nearly a decade ago, taking a year off, studying what, four mediums, let's say, and then, having 4 years combined all of them together, and now utilizing them and mixing them and just getting good with them in a way that helps my artwork. And, meanwhile, professionally, I'm doing graphic design, so my digital skills are also increasing. I think, it was just nice to hear the things that he has to say. And, that's why I talk about these things. I know I might be talking about myself a lot, but again, it's the Andrew Glowczewski experience. I could only talk about my own experience. You know what I mean? I don't want to speak for anybody else, and if I do, you know what I mean, I'll say that, like, hey, I'm not speaking for myself here, or from my own experiences here. There he is. And hope that's why I kind of do this stuff, and hopefully, like, this stuff motivates people to try things and to do things. And you know for instance, I've never photo bashed as much as I'm doing now. Like, it's something that I've done in the past, that kind of as a means to an end on a certain project or something, and that's all good you know um so that's why, like, if you look at my first sets of photo bashing that I've been putting up on Instagram lately, and now you're looking at what I do now, you could see, like, okay, I spend just a little bit more time on these things, maybe, but the results that I'm getting are a lot better than they were in the beginning. And this isn't even me taking a year off. This is me just, taking a couple weeks out on a certain character and saying, like, all right, I'm gonna go about working on this character this way, you know? There we go. And and it's only because I took those years off to focus on a single thing, and what that does is it trains your mind to sit there and know what to expect when it comes to learning a new medium, a new thing, a new skill, a new whatever. Like, you're not gonna just pick it up and be good at it. Like, you're gonna have to practice at it. So a year isn't much time at all to try to get good at something, but I knew that, especially after how bad my inks still were. Now my inking had increased, like, the skills have had increased tenfold, but tenfold from like almost zero, you know, it still isn't much at all. And yeah, it's just nice to hear other people say it, and they say it more intelligibly and all that other stuff. And, you know, I appreciate, you know, hearing that from him after I've already been listening to his channel for a long time. Makes me feel good about what I'm doing because, you know, sometimes I may question myself. You know, I work on these things, and, you know, I started off in the beginning saying, all right, let's see what happens. Like, that I'm sure that's how I started this one off, you know, being like, all right, let's see what I could do with this coat and this jacket. I'm digging it, so I want to do something with it. Here we go. Like, that's what it is. Um, it's not because I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing, and you know, I'm expecting myself to make the dopest dope anyone's ever smoked here. Like, I'm just trying to really just accomplish my own goal, and hopefully I do that. And yeah, like I said, with other characters coming up, I'll definitely be doing this because I mean, this is going to be more reserved for the more important characters, while other ones that are monsters and things that I already have pretty good understanding of, you know, I could just hand draw those like I've been doing up until now. But yeah, I'll just, I guess, rant over. Talk to me, baby. You were pretty little missy, baby. I'm not for you, baby. It's a heart to the bone, heart to the bone.
Favorite dinosaur t-shirt made in pop. Now it's by its favorite t-shirt.
Vintage is just enough wood for fossil. Positive. Back to Dad and Father's Jurassic Life.
Anything like a princess.
Some more Adam Duff. Is it? Or is it the end of the video? Yeah, it's the end of the video. Throw commercials at the end of videos. Who does that?
Hope you guys are staying safe out there. I appreciate any and all support you drop on this. This is a really awesome opportunity.
Some more Rad Brad.
Came to me and wanted to sponsor a video. He's playing this game. It's just now available in North America and Europe on PC and mobile. If you guys want to check it out, I have a link at the very top of the description. Click that and you should be able to have access to it. All right, so this game is set in the future, obviously. You saw the flying ships and everything. It's a sci-fi grand space simulation game. You can customize your ship, you can explore, you can pretty much go anywhere. So, and the art of this game is what really caught my attention because you see a lot of space stuff out there. And it's just like this, like the ship design and stuff like that. I was really caught off guard. I thought it was really well done. And one last thing before we begin, the gameplay, as far as what you're about to see, the gameplay is a very high degree of freedom, meaning that you can customize your ship any way you want. You can go anywhere from a 3D perspective. You can like see the entire battlefield. And it's like very, like the colors pop, the art, and everything is really, really well done. So I'm excited to jump in. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all the support. Shout out to Infinite Range. Again, I got that link at the top of the description. Click that as many times as you like, and it'll help me out. So you guys awesome. Let's get this.
In the space discovery era, the expanse beyond our solar system remained a mystery to us. It prompted the desire for the uncharted, driving the demand for new technology. An experiment changed the course of our history. At the Growch base, resonance of war space was found, opening the tunnel between two stellar systems. As the technology matures, comes a new era of interstellar travel. We call these pathways Lagrange nodes. Giant stargates were built, linking busy routes across the galaxy. The traffic system, Lagrange network, brought prosperity and wealth. Conflict and warfare. Old empires fell apart. New forces rose instead. As war spread, the long-forgotten side of space revealed itself. Darkness. The desire to venture is never extinguished, and the Lagrange network is lighting up once again. Home beckons, yet journey awaits. The path is yours to decide.
What do we get there? All right, new faction name. I don't know actually. We call it maybe my middle name. So I've got all caps on, sorry. One more. There we go. Design your emblem. Check it out. Hey, all right. I really like this last one. Looks pretty cool. So kind of back how we get. No. I like the blue. Probably gonna go with that X. I don't know why. This last one just looks clean to me. I don't know. Let's go. I like how they each have a theme too. So freedom. Okay, this is freedom. Order. We're the only way to stop the inherent chaos and we'll bring it into life as we know it. We got order. We got glory. Whatever I see, wherever I go, it's all mine. It's taking. Tranquility, how vast space and even at our most glorious mankind knows no more than a third of the Milky Way. Return total, okay. Oh wow, I like the name of this one too. We can recreate the Earth, but we cannot recreate our home. That's actually pretty awesome. I don't know, man. It's like letting go of everything. I like this one. I guess what it stands for, you know? All right, let's see what we got. After signing the Dawn, or you were authorized by no level each shift, okay? So, personal assets. I'm guessing this is just the utility ship stuff. Okay, ship right there. Register it out. Go. Get it, baby.
Action was registered successfully.
that soundtrack though. I like the 3D aspect of everything. Get the military area. Battle cruiser. Hey, what's this thing ahead of us? What's that? Got us a smile. Signal beacon. What's this thing? Oh, the whole thing is that.
Please wait.
Oh, look what we're about to go through. We're about to go through there. Fuel.
There we go.
Now requesting coordinates of the new stellar system. Attention. The first garrison fleet of Antonio's Gate has detected your presence. Coordinates received. Warp drive module initiated to match the new coordinates.
Well, let's check out these tips really quick. Definitely exploring a new solar system, or new star system, I mean, sorry. Build your base and get your utility ships and military ships ready as soon as you arrive in a new star system. Resource mining is essential for your development in space. However, considering that there are many unforeseen dangers in the system, we suggest you mine on the belts around the base.
Shit. Give me a second, man. I had brewed some tea earlier, like an hour, over an hour ago.
Before you did, please note
It's probably already cooling down, so let me go grab some of that.
fire attack player ships.
Be right back.
Maps successfully.
Something I also didn't realize, so a season of this game will last about 2 months, and after the season's over, a new star game will be opened, and players are going to travel to like a completely different galaxy, explore and conquer, which I thought was a nice little touch that they added to this game.
Fleet is ready. Now entering the hyperspace. Good luck, Commander.
Hey, let's get it.
New fleet created.
Yo, fleet, let's get it. So, we're almost there, let's see.
Fleet composition updated.
Yo, what is it? Our commander, our ships have made it to the Stargate. New star system base under construction. Okay, let's do this. That's good, quick. So, alright, the base is completed now. It's trying to build some base facilities. Shipbuilding, okay, construction. Building speed. Oh, wow, okay. Cargo ship? Oh, no, capital ship. Shipyard. Building speed, building ships. Upgrade everything. Level 2. So, I guess we would wait the full 5 minutes. We won't have that kind of stuff. No. Oh, you actually need. Okay. Speed up, okay. 5 minutes. Watch the pixels. Space is awesome. Wow. That's even wow, this is the galaxy. So this is like all ours. It's pretty cool.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So it already cooled down a bit, which is expected.
slowly figuring things out. I'll take
All right. Let's get back to it.
This area is an operation of our forces. You can give orders to our units within the area.
so I guess
Select space base to view the details. Tap 9 to collect resources. Ships can be grouped into fleets to execute orders. Select a small utility ship. Tap to create a fleet. Ships can be created given and orders will be executed upon confirmation.
we got action points down here. I see everything. Sailing time. Michelle, how this gonna take? Oh, so we can actually watch like the cinematic ones here. It's like you're sending stuff out the mind for you. It's pretty cool. And it shows you. How convenient. Very intriguing. All right, it's been detected that a battle is taking place near the base. We'll check out the details, okay? How about to fight somebody or what? Oh no. Oh my God, what is that?
Right to the spot. Tap here to return to map. Privateer fleet is located. Create a new operation to defeat the privateer fleet. After the operation area is designated, the fleet can execute orders in the area. New operations ready and attack.
Man, I bet somebody that has like 1,000 hours in this game, just clicking all kinds of buttons and levers and everything, and knows exactly what's going on. It's one of those things if I had like maybe about 20 hours in this game, I feel like I would just know so much. But it's cool because it actually kind of walks you through everything that you need to know initially. All right, basing this in the combat power. Oh, you got combat power. I know we got action points down here. Sailing time, minute 26. 4 minutes an hour. I don't know how they're calculating. Maybe this in days. Let's see. Let's confirm the order of the attack. All right. We're gonna actually get to watch a cutscene of what we just chose. Okay. I find this very relaxing to play. Entering battle, as I say that. So we're just essentially, maybe we don't actually have to do anything. So it looks like we're shooting this one. Look at the health. My only issue is this thing's not gonna make it. I mean, these ships are pretty strong. So I mean, we'll pretty much get it down to 0%. Done. Fleet 2. Let's get it. We got Blueprint EXP 418, alright? It's actually pretty easy. I'll take it. Why don't we, help everything? No, look at this area. I don't like the flying in this game. It's really, really well done. Yeah, we got pretty much maxed them out. I mean, it wasn't even close. All right, we got dog fighting scheme. Or, yeah, sort of scheme. Back to the race. Hey, there's a lot to it, man. A lot of stuff. I'm gonna say, let's see. Can't get them for that. Rarity 1. I think we have to roll back now. This is gonna take some time. We're not gonna get to it this video, but it should be good. All right. Research branch. I wonder if there's anything else. Oh, this is like the past. Okay. There's all the stuff you get. Claim all. Let me go and do that. Okay, you gotta see what's going on. We have the financial 250% return. 15 days. All right. All right, so detective that a premise here for police created operations around your base. So here's
Shit.
showing each one. We got a blueprint in progress right now. Operation Tunnel Location Brigade. Arrive. What if we can intercept? Unless it's like an ally type thing. Find them. This one doesn't automatically attack. Oh, never mind. For the sake of your base, nice. Check out the blueprint. We upgrade the facilities. Go ahead and do that. I like that everything is just like, you can see everything from the map. Nice. All right, upgrade the target. There we go. We're basically building up an entire force, the fleet, everything. So your fleet goes out to stop stuff. You have the shipyard and everything else that kind of you can dock, customize the ship. It's like you get different areas, each one too. We can upgrade this. It'll give us industrial ports command point. Okay. Military ports command point as well. Hey, all right. Upgrade again. Oh, no, okay. Western Fleet, first main mission done. Let's see what we got here. Metal. Okay, there's metal, crystals, okay. Oh, we get to build a new one? Let's get it, man. Hold on. Let's speed this up. Yeah, we're moving fast now. Let's get it. All right, we're gonna tap. We'll get this attack going. You know, operation before giving orders. Okay. All right. So rapid formation. Tap select all the two ships. Okay. Crazy fleets. Look at defeat the privateers. Please confirm the order of attack. Go in here. Tap to do the next page. Okay. Tap for an exit. All right. Within the circle, basically. I've unlocked so much stuff in like the last 2 minutes of this game. I got everything now. Let's go. So we're at 60 after the win a little bit. Quests, no quests yet. Looks like it's just going to be the police attack type stuff. Let's see. So I kind of keeps blinking. We just see if there's anything popping up. It doesn't look like there is. So it's just there taking care of business pretty much. I don't think we don't have to do much now since this is all going.
Command authority registered.
Alright, so right now we're here. You can kind of see the, I guess like the two different ones. Let me go ahead and go down here and see what the health is. Hey, let's go ahead and do really quick. Go ahead and take a look at what's going on over here. Yeah, I like that you kind of check out the different health and everything. I'm just thinking it has no chance. It's 3v1 basically. I do like that you can kind of, well actually it's 4v1 too. You can see the other one. It's like kind of covered up a little bit. way they create the space on these looks really awesome. So I'm guessing we don't quite have to sit here and wait. We kind of go do other stuff. Maybe that's why it can bounce. Expand a little bit. So you can kind of see the two health bars. We got the combination of all of ours, and then theirs is in the red already. After that, we're gonna go here and make this one. Kind of what we're doing right now. I'm basically just like surveying the scene, you know. Now we kind of see what's next. I thought I wanted one more. We're gonna go to each one, I guess. Go back and look again. I guess, honestly.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
Oh, there's another one. Well, you're not gonna last long, buddy. 9%.
God damn it! The
Wait, did
fuck
it go
happened?
from 100 to 9? Or did it just be? Maybe it was. Oh, it's already done. That was kind of cool. More prime. Let's go. When a fleet enters an operating area, we'll receive. There's more coordinates, okay? What's this over here?
Oh come on!
Hey, let's get it.
Why is this starting up?
Let's expand a little bit. Now we're going there. What about this? Let's go and attack this one. Kind of need the handgun. Let's see. Go ahead. Speed it up, baby. Let's get it. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm doing that. All right. Over to transition. We actually just got here almost. I want to, like, go to the actual views, show it, like, when it gets close. Thing 2 is entering the battle. I do like to do kind of just roll around. And, like, what's cool is, like, it also, if I had enough resources, which I may actually go ahead and spend, you basically send out a different fleet to then rock the other area. I don't quite know. Let's go see what this is. All right. Mine a little bit. Okay, we're currently being mined. We got different ones with different things, basically. No main quests coming up this check. Clearly, airspace is like the main thing. It's on chapter 2, so okay, that makes sense. I'm guessing what's going to happen is we get this first circle done, and then the other. It's going to say 1 out of 4. I'm going to go do the other 3 adventures of this chapter before the video. So let's see what we got left. I just wish I could make. Maybe we could another one each. See how much stuff I have. Great fleets. Okay, home docks. Let me see. I don't think I can do any more right now. I think it's one at a time, essentially. Because you can kind of also see, like, what? Let me see. That's the mining one, yep. Let's go through there really quick while the actual battle's going on. Kind of just dig it easy. What we got over here? That's the whole thing. So my base can get under attack at this second. They got like a health thing. 250,000 armor, shoulder, whatever that's technically called. That'd be terrifying, man. I'd hate to sit there and be like, oh no, getting under attack. Alright, this is almost done. Let's go back and look. Actually, hold on. Should almost be done. So right now I have 5. So every time I make one, I'm doing more damage because it's like, obviously, outnumbering is definitely helping that a lot. All right, fleet 2-1. Fleet 1 is on the mining, I'm pretty sure that's how I set it up. All right, let's go back. But I know you can actually scan out further than what I already was doing. You can explore, it says that you can explore historical ruins, bright planets, and rich mineral resources, like for mining and stuff like that. Pretty much anywhere. You can send your ships there too. So I did not know you could do that. That's really awesome. We'll kind of point that out really quick. All right, let's get back to it. One thing I like so far, and this is kind of like the general theme I see, is little ones up here. Essentially all the stuff that's right here. We're actually getting close to it. Sort of chill. Honestly, it's like you just gotta sit back and relax. I don't know what that is over there. It's almost like let's go to ship this. It's pretty perfect after this. After this, I might return to base, let them replenish their armor. Completely just chilling down here. I do like how I want to like chill and watch. Those are like this guy right there. While the HUD's on, you know. What's that? It's crazy because it doesn't look like when you go all the way out like okay. Man, like it's funny because you can kind of see it from this angle. Now this is actually a close fight because while they're about halfway, about 80 to 50, I guess, right there, but still kind of scary. You know, like, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. It's kind of cool that you can just kind of go up 40 each one and just chill out. And we got the Grim Reaper's only one left. I'm gonna take that Grim Reaper and I'm gonna chill out. It's been a really cool game. I didn't know what it was gonna be like when I first played it. I honestly had no idea. I've never played a game like this before. Really cool. I like the idea. The concept is really nice. It's like it's a space exploration game that lets you do, you customize your ships, you upgrade your fleets, protecting your base, basically, mining for materials and stuff like that, minerals for your base, and then you can probably move on and I don't know, go to different areas and defend that. You basically go to an area, you set up shop, and then you kind of bench routes from that one position, and then probably when you get done with that region, then you go back to the main map, and then kind of go from there. So, what? Hold on. Wait, oh no! I lost one. Yo, check it out. That was actually kind of crazy. Well, that was unfortunate. So help with the legs. I mean, this thing's almost done. That's crazy. I lost one. After this, we gotta escape. This is down here. Gotta be careful. What is that? Military post. Okay. Fleet training. What? Oh, okay. I thought my ship's detonated again. I've already lost one. Do a lot of damage too. Okay. Look at the health right there. It seems to be pretty big. All right, nice. Battle XP. Let's see what we got. We're gonna get out of here. All right, that is it. Man, thank you guys so much for supporting Drop on this. This game's now available as of June 2nd. It's online in the United States, Canada, Brazil, Australia, both on PC and mobile. So if you guys can check it out yourself, just click the link at the very top of the description. I love you all. Thanks for kind of being cool with these sponsored things. It really helps out my family and stuff, my mom especially. So much love to all of you. Thanks for everything. Take it easy, guys.
Hey, what's up, Jessica? I'm good, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm just doing what I normally do with this photo mashup. This one's coming along pretty nice. I had a feeling it was a good reference image. I've been at it for almost 2 hours now. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it. So like, started off with this one. I knew that I was gonna be able to do some work with that jacket.
These two right here, Timber and Unstoppable. We'll restart from the very, very beginning, skip all the cutscenes. And when you first get to the village, you know how you get that area where you have all the lichens attacking you, and it's like a timed event type thing. That and beating your eyes. But to make it more difficult for myself, what I was gonna do, I'm gonna be using like the infinite ammo stuff, so obviously it's gonna be a lot easier. But to kind of make it at least fair, I'm gonna do the Village of Shadows difficulty, see if I can get it done. It's gonna be tough. I don't know if I'm gonna do it all at once.
Yeah, me too, man.
To get one of these done in
I'm
the
into
same
those
video,
big
if
poofy
not,
collars and everything.
make another video where I'm actually taking down your eyes in the very, very beginning. I think that's how you say that name. Anyways, you guys are awesome. If you want more of this game, I know I've kind of got a couple extra mercenary maps I wanted to try, but I'm actually practicing those maps every time I experience stuff. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Let's go on. Let's go like this board. Alright, so what we're gonna do is
But yeah, man, I'm trying to see what else can I do, cause I've already like started here, did some color swapping around, and then what added the face. So I did the face there, added the mask, and then what is this? Oh yeah, added the visor. Which I'm wondering if there's still more I could do with the visor or not, but I guess not. And then I had, had the idea, of course, make it a poofy collar. And I was like, this looks awesome. I said, you know what, let me see if there's, like, if I could push it and do a little bit more. So then I dropped in, like, the military gear. So, oh, man. So yeah, I mean, this one's basically done, so it's more or less just fun at this point. Here we go. Oh, sweet. Yeah, no problem. No problem if you're just hanging out. It's all good. Half lurk, half chat. Exactly. That's what's up. What's art fight really quick? Is that the stuff that we were talking about before? As far as like the competition stuff? Like not really competition, but where you participate in these like contests with artists all across and it's all just for fun type stuff? Or is art fight something else specifically? Do art for the other side. uh, okay. Cool, man. That's awesome. Feel free to pull from any of my characters if you want. You know, if it interests you at all. I don't. I do my best to try to keep my website updated with them. So you can go to my website, gmrdrew.art, and then under, I think it's the production tab, you know, I have like characters, environments, and stuff that I've done, props, maps, and all that. So yeah, man. gmrdrew.art. Let me type it in. Oh, well, the link's in my bio as well. But yeah, let me. But yeah, I have a production tab in there, and I have some of my characters up. I gotta update it. That's what I might do after I end this stream in a minute. Probably go online and see where my website's at with all the things that I've done. But yeah, if you want to do one of my characters, feel free. You know. But if not, I get it. But yeah, have fun with that, man. That sounds like fun. You know, the best part is, you know, the people who create the characters get to see their stuff in your style. So, yeah, super dope. Hmm. Oh shit. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Just wanted to fix that tube. That tube was looking flat and obviously modified. Oof. Excuse me. Yeah, especially the reference image I used, it was facing in the opposite direction. So this was coming from a guy who was facing left, and I didn't reverse it because I didn't want to reverse the way that the tube was going. So yeah, it's a little wonky. I could probably like paint over it to try to, or I could use this smudge tool to try to push these little things. But yeah, I don't think this is really doing anything. There we go. There we go. Little things. I don't know what that says, but I like it. What am I going on? Got to be about 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours on this one. And considering where we're coming from and where we ended up going. Oh, what is this? That's the patch. This is that stuff. Yeah, let me. Which one's that? That's the gun. So yeah, I could merge these back. So yeah, seeing where we came from. Damn, there's a lot of layers on this one. An ending here. I like it. I dig it. So yeah, let's save this. No. Yeah, thank you. Alright, so let's see. Should have kept the one on that one. So yeah, here we got the two versions, night and day. Oh man, my armatures looks like it's dropped a bit. I'm gonna have to adjust this for the next stream. But yeah, spent 2 hours on this one. But yeah, I dig it, man. Having a lot of fun with these. I'm gonna be back in a little bit. I'm probably gonna like snack or something, and then I'll be back on later. Jessica, thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure. Thanks for the compliments. Everybody else, I'm G Mr. Drew at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You follow, like, and subscribe. Any and all support is appreciated. You've been watching the Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 162, doing some photo bashing and bringing this guy more and more to life. Can't wait to get to more characters, man. I got so many, and this treatment, I can't wait to give this treatment to most of them. Honestly, I feel like I'm missing something. This looks like this is supposed to be filled in white. Now that I think about it. Yeah, let me do this. If I do this, and just get that, and kind of just fill that in like that. There we go. I feel like that's how that was supposed to be. There we go. Look at that, last minute fixes. Replace. Okay. Save. All right. Thanks, y'all. Peace.